anyway. So I was wondering what initially attracted you to the poem in the first place, and why you thought you would like to work with calligraphy.
Well, basically, my aim for this project was to celebrate Eastern culture in the West. And I started reading through several mythologies and fell upon The Conference of the Birds, which was a beautiful poem about the birds of the world in search of their mythological king. It's a Sufi poem. And I thought it'd be nice to explore this particular one because it's not very well known.
Talk and walk me through this.
Sure. So basically, when you first open the book, you'll see this patterned end paper, and the paper is actually designed from calligraphy, with the three letters Ha, Mim, and Ta. These letters represent Huruf Mantiq al-Tayr, which would mean the letters of the Conference of the Birds.
Right.
If we just walk through the first few pages, the title of the book. This is Mantiq al-Tayr, the Conference of the Birds, in Jali Diwani Calligraphy.
Mm-hmm.
I begin the book with a traditional pattern from Islamic architecture, and then give it a more contemporary twist by creating a pattern within a pattern through laser cutting.
Mm-hmm.
And 30 elements selected here represent the 30 birds that make it in the final journey of the story. Which then the contents of the book appear till we reach the contents page. This is just the preface, and Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, in the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful.
Mm-hmm. And this is the introduction to the poem itself. This is the start.
Exactly. So in fact, the book is laid out where in each chapter you have the extract of the poem to begin with. Here you'll see that there is a secondary colour been added into the
Mm-hmm.
text, and that is sort of the voice of the hoopoe, who is the leader of the journey in the story, who's leading all the birds in search of their long-lost king,
Yes.
Simorgh. And
So there are many different levels of kind of graphic differentiating voices within the actual English translation of the poem before we even get to the calligraphy and the graphics.
yes, and then this is always followed by the name of the bird in Jali Diwani, which is then broken down step by step.
Mm-hmm.
And for each one of those you have the transliteration, so this would be hudhud, and a breakdown of the letters as well for people to understand.
So this is the bookmark as well, which comes inside the book, which gives the key to the graphic system we're about to see.
Yes. So in each chapter, I designed a piece of calligraphy that sort of takes the essence of that particular story. It says in the story of the hoopoe that Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim has been etched onto the beak of the bird. And so I designed those words, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, in the shape of the hoopoe's beak.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in each spread you'll have the transliteration so that people are able to read these words in English, and then the translation for the meaning.
Yes.
The system here described on the bookmark basically tries to make all of this more accessible for non-Arabic readers. So based on the fact that calligraphy is based on a series of harmonious curves,
Yes.
I highlighted those curves with the shape of a circle,
Yes.
and then gave that a color coding system which would then show the beginning, middle and end of each word.
Yes.
Applied to this calligraphy as you see it, it would look like this, but as it's quite complicated and overlaps.
Yes.
You then open each gatefold, which has each word broken down in its respective place.
Exactly. So the reader can then compare, starting from that dot, and work their way
Exactly.
along the words.
I think it's quite important that people don't just look at this piece of calligraphy and think, well, this is, lovely, but they can actually understand it, understand the reading direction.
Yes.
And it gives them a lot more accessibility to the work itself.
Indeed.
So in fact, with each one, if you follow the lightest green, as you can see in the guide,
Yes.
you then move to the darker blue and then to the darkest.
Yes.
And that would be the first word, and you can actually read that with the transliteration below. This would be Bism. This is Allah, Ar-Rahman, and Ar-Rahim.
Extraordinary.